Hey, what's up everybody? AP Trucker back for a second. This video, it don't have nothing to do with trucking. This is a little personal video about my personal life. Please stay to the end if y'all can. Don't forget to comment, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified when I upload videos. So I'm gonna talk about that case with that cop brutality and killing George Floyd and all of that stuff. I know people probably sick of hearing about it, but I'm gonna give my perspective, which is much like a lot of people, but a little bit different. And don't get me wrong, this story is my experience with this. You know, it might be different. It's somewhat the same, but it's going to be a little bit different. Now, when I decided I was going to become a truck driver, it was around the same time that my son was deciding his career path. And he decided that he wanted to become a police officer, which I did discuss in a previous video. So, you know, when he told me that's what he wanted to do, me, myself, I didn't like it. I did not like it, but that's what he wanted to do. That's the path he chose, and he wanted to do that. But I didn't have any. The only gripe I had about it was the fact that once you put on a uniform, you are now one of them. You're one of the police officers. You're a cop. Now, I raised my son extremely respectful, courteous to women. You know, he's a very responsible. He's not confrontational. He wasn't bullied. He was popular in school. He had friends, you know, all of that stuff. I just didn't like the idea because cops, police officers, and it goes back to like Rodney King and just black people in general. Cops got a bad rap. And regardless of how I raised my son, they don't know him. They don't know his name. They don't know his background. They just see him as a cop. And he's a black cop. You know, he's African American. You know, and I didn't like that. I really didn't like it, but I supported him. You know, I stood behind him. I made sure he knew I had his back, regardless of me not wanting him to do it because of his safety. And like I said before in previous videos, I'm from Philadelphia, so he's a Philadelphia cop. And comment down below, you know, what y'all think about it, about this trial and this conviction. You know, everybody watched that video about George Floyd, and they watched that man get murdered. And I knew that Derek guy was going to go to jail, because you have to believe your eyes. And all these cell phones and things like that, you know, it was essential and detrimental to the case. You know, so I knew the man was going to go to jail. You got to call a spade a spade. That man, you seen it with your own eyes. I'm making this video because I know two sides of the coin. You know, there are some bad cops out there, and like I said before, I'm not being impartial to it because my son is a police officer. But for the good cops out there, he made that just look so bad. And I'm glad that they're doing a deeper investigation, because now they're going to end up going to Philadelphia too and I hope they investigate every state with the police departments. I want them to, so they can brush up on their skills. My son is going to be 27 years old, and he's been a cop for 4 years. And he hasn't gotten into anything, but, since he got sworn in, I've been worrying. I pray for him every day. I don't want anything bad to happen to my son out there, because like I said, they don't know him personally. Once he put on the uniform, he's labeled. You're a cop. You're one of those guys. Like, that's where I'm different from people. And like I said, I'm not being impartial because my son is a cop, but I don't like cops myself. I'm sorry, but I don't like the way the system is being ran. So, and I'm not, taking one side or the other. I'm like right down the middle. I just, like I said, I wish that he would have chose something different, because he got a bad rap because he's African American, and he got even worse rap right now because he's a cop. And it makes me worry, And the last thing I need on my plate out here is worrying about if I'm gonna get a phone call, that he got into something, or I don't know. I just don't want to think that way. I always try to think positive. But I watched that whole case with that cop, and how just because George Floyd was a black man, an African American man, they tried to discredit him, paint him out to be a drug addict, an unhealthy person, all of the negative. They tried to focus on the negative. That man had a family. Regardless of whether or not he was on drugs or anything, he had children. He had brothers, and that could have been any one of us out there, and them shooting at that girl, the teenage girl. I mean, and then the boy, the 20-year-old. That, it don't make no sense. Why you shoot first? You could do anything. He could have tackled that girl. Like, he might have broke a bone, but she'd still be here. There's different ways that you gotta handle things. And back on, my son is not a confrontational person. He'll talk his way out of anything. He's not a physical, he doesn't, he has to be physical if, called for, but, I just don't understand. There's different ways and different strategies and things and ways that you can handle situations. It could have been a number of things. That female cop that shot that boy that just had the funeral the other day. How you on the force for 27 years or 26 years or however many years, and you mistake your taser for your service weapon, for your gun? How do you do that? I mean, and I asked my son, when you pulling somebody over, what happens? What goes on? So he tells me, when you pull up behind the person, the first thing you do is you run the plates. You get all the information as soon as you run their plates. Whoever the car belongs to, even if he was just borrowing that car, it'll still take him to a vicinity of who owns the car. And they didn't have to do that to that boy, even though, I mean, he lived in a state where George Floyd was murdered. And of course, he's a young black man. And he already had a prior offense. So his name is already in the system for the fact that he has a warrant or whatever the case may be. My son tells me all that pops up in the system. Once they got that boy's name and ran it,
say a command.
They had his address. They could have let that boy run. This is what my son said. They could have let that boy run and just went to his house. He didn't pose a threat to nobody. And why is your first instinct, your first reaction to either pull a taser or pull a gun on somebody, even if they running? That boy is 20 years old, and I would be scared too. So, you know, your first reaction is it shouldn't be bodily harm. It shouldn't be that. That boy didn't have a weapon on him. He got back in his car and was going to run. My son said, in a situation like that, we would let him go and chase him. Run that, you know, go to their address, you know, follow him in the car for as long as you have to. It could have been avoided. That whole situation could have been avoided. So, I just don't understand the mindset of some of these officers. And I say some, because there's a lot of them out there that are bad. But there's some of them that, you know the law and know the procedures and know policy and know how to conduct themselves as a humane person. You know, the stuff that's going on right now is completely inhumane. I mean, I treat my dog better than these cops treat people. So it don't make no sense. I mean, really. So, I mean, this is just my personal opinion. I'm on the fence. I never did like cops ever. And I was completely floored when my son said he wanted to become one. And I told him my opinion. But like I said, he was grown at the time. And that's the path he chose. The only reason why I'm sitting safe in my skin is because I know he's not one of those people. He's not an inhumane human being. He's not inhumane. You know, he has feelings. And he takes people's lives and their personal situations into consideration. I mean, he's seen a lot. I showed him a lot. He grew up around a lot of things that weren't 100% positive. So he has a wide spectrum of opinion when it comes to humanity. So, I don't know. I just thought I'd get on here. And I know a lot of people are like sick of hearing about this case. But that cop got what he deserved. You know, that was just ridiculous. That was overkill. You know, it made no sense. Made no sense. So that's my opinion on it. And comment. You know, comment and let me know what you think about that. And tell me how you would feel if your child or somebody in your family is a police officer. How do you feel? You know, knowing that everybody in the whole United States right now, cops got a bad rap. Whether you're a good cop or a bad cop. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think, how you would feel if somebody close to you was a police officer. You know, you gotta have a biased opinion and a non-biased opinion on the situation. That's how I feel. I know that's like being like sort of hypocritical, but not. I don't know how to explain it, but I know I'm right down the center of it. I don't like cops at all. And it don't change the fact that my son is a cop to make me want to like cops. You know, I love my son to death. but I don't like cops. Tell me how you feel. All right, y'all. Y'all try to stay safe. I try to make another video. I'm about to go home, you know, this week coming, next week coming, to see my kids. I've been out here since January. It's almost May. So I've been out here for 4 months. I need to see my kids now, so I'm going home. I'll get back with y'all probably when I'm coming back out. Let y'all know how hometown visit went. All right, y'all. Y'all be safe. This is AP, and I'm out.